Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is Wednesday afternoon, which means we like to do our weekly weather updates just to keep everybody updated on what the forecast is going to be doing here as we make our way throughout this week ahead and all the way up until Sunday and even beyond. You know, we like to even look at the 8 to 14 day outlook just so everybody knows exactly what you can expect in the forecast here for throughout the week ahead. And if you're trying to make some plans in the extended forecast, we try to help you out with that as well. So again, it has been a little bit dry out there as we've made our way throughout the last few days, and we did get a little bit of rainfall just kind of towards the end of last week, but we need some more rain. We have been very dry. Today we're not getting it, but we have had a lot of cloud cover out there. Taking a look at some of our cameras, you can see that we have a look out towards the airport where things are moving smoothly, but it has been a little bit of a cloudy day, at least to start off with. Looking out towards the Georgia Tech campus, you see that we're starting to see a lot more blue sky show up. We're also seeing it up towards Blue Ridge, where the colors are really starting to show up in the trees. It has been absolutely stunning to see some of those colors really starting to pop. 72 degrees right now in Blairsville, not far from the Blue Ridge area. Right now we have 71 in Canton, 70 degrees in Marietta, 73 in Atlanta, and 74 in Peachtree City. Meanwhile, it is 73 in Athens. Now, as we've headed throughout the last few days here, temperatures have been just a little bit above average. Today is going to be similar. We'll finish off the day with above average temperatures. But notice that we've been well away from 90s. Really, we're done with it for the year. No more worries. We got no more 90-degree days expected. And we have a huge cold front that's going to be moving in later on in the forecast. We're going to be talking about that here in just a moment. First of all, though, let's talk about the rain. Not seeing any out there for today. We do have a lot of shower activity further off to the west, impacting the Lone Star State, and also just a few coastal showers down there towards the Georgia coastline and up into South Carolina. Some of those moving on shore, just light showers. Again, those aren't going to be making it to us, though. We are going to be staying drier. Now, you want to make sure you have the 11 Alive app because you can get an update on the forecast whenever you're on the go. You can watch updates like the one you're seeing right now and also get an update on the forecast. Right now, it is 73 degrees in Atlanta. That is as of 2 o'clock on Wednesday. You may be watching this at a later date because you can also catch this video on the 11 Alive app. You can either watch it live or you have the ability to go back and watch it at a later date and see what the forecast is still holding for that 8 to 14 day outlook in case you don't catch the forecast on the news during the day. 73 degrees again right now in Atlanta. Heading throughout the rest of today, we'll see that cloud cover thin up. Temperatures are going to be dropping down into the 60s by the time we get to 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. tonight. You see that you can send in your weather wow moments. Check the radar whenever we do have rain on the radar. Right now, none out there, though. Then you can also watch the newscast live. And again, updates just like this one right there at your fingertips on your phone. But let's say you want to also catch some of those long-form updates, like the one you're seeing right now, but also in the sense of news. You want to catch some of those extra updates on a certain story that you may be following. You can download the 11 Alive Plus app. You can download that to your Roku and Fire TV devices. Get those long-form updates, again, just like the one you're watching right now. Let's take a look at the forecast, though, as we head throughout the next 48 hours. I always like to take a look at forecast tracks. Sometimes it doesn't show much of anything, and that's actually kind of what we're going to be looking at today. It's not much going on. Winds are coming more out of the southeast here as we head really east-southeast as we head throughout the next 24 hours. You see temperatures going to be in the 50s and 60s. When you wake up tomorrow morning, moving into the afternoon, temperatures back into the 70s, mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. Not going to see any rain here on Friday. Again, another dry day, and a majority of this next week is going to be dry. Actually, looking at the next 5 days, we are not expecting any rainfall. We do have one chance there in the 7-day forecast you'll see in just a moment. Your rainfall of the next 7 days, though, showing less than 1/4 of an inch all across North Georgia. A lot of us will be lucky just to get a trace of rain. Now, there's some bad news behind that. We need rainfall. We are currently in some drought in parts of the region, and that's likely going to worsen. Notice that the closest rain to us, the closest significant rain to us, that is really going to be up towards Tennessee, Arkansas, the Missouri Boot Heel, and then stretching over to Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. That's where the better rain is going to be over the next 7 days. For us, though, it will be drier. We have abnormally dry conditions for a majority of our area, and some spots are even beyond that now. You see some spots now have moderate drought to severe drought in far northwest Georgia. Due to the fact that we didn't get a lot of rain this last week, I would expect that area is going to expand, and we are going to see more areas in some drought. And that's likely going to worsen again by the time we're talking next week, because we're not expecting much rainfall here over the next 7 days. So how much rain have we seen so far in the month of October? The answer is only about 1.75 inches. Our normal month to date, we should have about 2.5 inches. So, we're getting closer and closer to being an inch behind for the month of October. And I think we will finish up the month of October an inch behind where we should be. Your rainfall by month shows that we have had a lot of dry months for the year of 2023. Notice February was well behind after we had a very wet January, though. And then looking at March, we got back above the mark there, stayed above the mark for April, but then May, June, and July were significantly dry. June wasn't too far off, but July very significant behind, only a little bit ahead for August, and then September was our driest month so far for the year. October is typically our driest month of the year, but unfortunately it's looking like we are going to continue to stay on this trend of drier weather. We are more than 5 inches behind on rainfall for the year in Atlanta. Now, some spots are similar to us, like Covington, you're behind, but Athens still well ahead. Rome is also ahead on rainfall, even though other parts of Floyd County are considered to be in that drought category. A lot of that rainfall, though, was picked up earlier on this year, similar to what they had in Athens. So we got a big thing coming later on this week. I talked about it earlier on in our update. That's a big cold front that's going to be bringing not just cooler conditions, but also drier conditions in the sense of lower chances for rain, and then also in the sense of humidity. Dew points are going to plummet here, it's looking like, as we head into the middle portion of next week. Notice by Tuesday, dew points start to drop off after they've been in the 50s to even lower 60s at times, which is still comfortable. Comfortable to just slightly humid out there, but you're going to really be feeling that crisp fall air by the time we head into the middle of next week. Taking a look at Tuesday, for Halloween, 50 degrees there for the low, 67 for the high. Only a slight chance for rain in there, and as we head throughout the overnight hours there, Tuesday and Wednesday, we're likely going to really have those temperatures drop. It's going to be cooler, it's going to be drier, and you're really going to notice it. Now, we do have some really nice days before the temperatures really plummet for those warm weather lovers. Looking at the end of this week, temperatures into the mid to upper 70s for highs, lower 80s for highs there for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Going to see a little bit more sunshine for the weekend, so that'll be nice. Only 9s on the wasometer because that is above average on the temperatures, but at least we are going to be having some of that sunshine in there. So what about the 8 to 14 day outlook beyond the next 7 days? So looking like we're going to be below average on temperatures, so may see those temperatures slip back down into the 60s. We just talked about that big front that we're going to get there on Halloween, and then moving into the middle to end of next week. Looks like those temperatures are going to be staying cooler, and then also it looks like we'll have around average to just above average rainfall, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to be significant enough to really push back these drought conditions, likely going to kind of stick around with us. So let's take a look at the tropics now. We may be talking about big cold fronts, but that doesn't mean that the tropics have completely quieted down. We continue on with hurricane season here in the Atlantic all the way up until the end of November, so we still have a lot of the season to go. Tammy is the latest named storm. It is a Category 2 hurricane. It's expected to kind of collapse out there in the Atlantic over the next few days, just kind of slow down to install out and just kind of fall apart. But it does have 105 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts of 125, and it's moving northeast at 13 miles per hour. Again, thankfully staying away from land, but we'll keep you updated on it anyway. The next name on the list would be Vince if we do have another named storm. Hopefully we don't have any more named systems though, and we can have a quieter end to our hurricane season. So looking at the tropical timeline, again, the climatological peak of the season is September 10th. You notice that there is another little bump up in the frequency here of tropical cyclones right there in the middle of October. Sometimes we get some frontal boundaries that kind of stall out as they're making their way out over the Gulf and moving across the Atlantic, and sometimes you get a little bit of spin on the tail end of those, and you can end up having more tropical cyclones form off of that. And that's what typically happens, and that's why you see systems like Tammy out there and some other systems that could happen. You see that little spike in October, but then things really collapse into November, and that's what we're hoping to see here as we head throughout this next week. So June 1st is the beginning of the season, the end of the season, November 30th. Of course, we'll keep you updated for the rest of the season. Let's take a look at the weekend getaways. If you're trying to get out of town this weekend, try to go relax somewhere. Let's say you want to go to Lake Lanier. Look at those temperatures. 80s for highs. Great weekend to winterize the boat. I'd go ahead and get it done. If you have a boat up there, you haven't winterized yet, I know a lot of people probably already have, probably want to get it done this weekend. It's going to be a good weekend for it, not too cold yet, and we're getting closer to those really cold days, and the water is going to get colder, so probably a good time to head up there and maybe just have a nice weekend with the family. Savannah, great spot this weekend. Look at all that sunshine there, especially on Saturday. Charleston should be pretty nice. We're going to have a little bit of rain possible in Gatlinburg on Monday, and then you see Destin down on the Emerald Coast of Florida, looking great there. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 80s for highs each day. And then your Peach State outlook. If you're just staying around Georgia here over the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, looking like it is going to be dry across the state. Not expecting any rainfall here. Should be a great end of the week and into the weekend as well. And then finally, your Georgia State Park forecast. Now, this is for Thursday. If you plan on doing any hikes tomorrow, make sure you have a light jacket with you in the morning. And then as we head into the afternoon, you won't need that jacket anymore. Should be an absolutely beautiful afternoon. So we love to do these updates. Again, every Wednesday at 2:30 typically. We had to push it to 2 o'clock today, but typically we do them at 2:30. And then on Sunday at 11 a.m. just to keep everybody updated on the forecast throughout the week, and so that you can get a little bit more of an extended update as opposed to that shorter update that we typically have during newscasts. We can kind of go into a little bit more in depth in the forecast here with these updates. So be sure to catch us again Sunday morning at 11 a.m. We did have to take a break off this past week as I was on vacation, but we are going to be back on Sundays again at 11 a.m. this weekend. I look forward to seeing you then. Don't forget that you can catch an update on the forecast every day at 4 o'clock with meteorologist Melissa Nord. We now have our 4 o'clock show that's coming on, giving us an hour earlier where we can deliver you the newscast. Be sure to tune into that. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is then on at 5 o'clock and all the way there through the 6:30 time frame. At 7 o'clock, you can catch meteorologist Nicole Hartford or myself. And then in the mornings, you can catch meteorologist Chesley McNeil. I hope everybody can have a wonderful week ahead of them. And again, we'll see you back here on Sunday.